And so Lobos will get a chance to try it one more time. That pass for Hummel, by the way, was incomplete, of course, out of the end zone. And so Ross will have one more chance. And they will line it up and go for two. Straight T formation in the backfield. Larry Hill bows under the T. Handoff to Maurice Stevens. Once again, we'd like to welcome our listeners this afternoon listening on radio station KFST in Fort Stockton, radio station KIUN in Pecos, and radio station KVLF in Alpine, all bringing you this afternoon's NAIA quarterfinal football game from Jackson Field in Alpine. Steve Hummel is on the far side, fading to the near side. Larry Hill throws a pass, caught, touchdown Lobo. And the Lobos are going to line it up and go for two. He's got Andrew Hill. The two-point conversion is good. And our score now goes to 23 for Sol Ross, 16 for William Jewell. We'll be back after this 60-second timeout.
Let's put this into perspective. The Sol Ross Lobos are leading William Jewell in the third quarter in the NAIA quarterfinal playoff game, and a national championship is in their sights. How does a program that's been struggling for years find itself in this position? What changed? When did it change? And was there a moment that can be pinpointed that turned everything around?
Well, you know, my first year there, the fall of '79, we went 4-6, which doesn't seem like a real significant record, but you know, they had been 1-9 the previous year, so that represented a step forward. But in 1980, I think we thought we were going to be quite a bit better. But yet after 6 games, we were 2-4. Out of the playoff hunt or the conference championship hunt. But of those 4 losses, 3 of them were by 1 point. Could have easily been 5-1, but we weren't. We were 2-4. And, you know, something needed to happen. We didn't, I don't know if we didn't know how to close out games or didn't know how to win or whatever the cliche is you want to use, but Austin College was ranked number 2 in the nation and was on their way to what they thought would be their second straight conference championship. And they came to our place, and we had a big game.
The Lobos upset the unbeaten and number 2 ranked Kangaroos. Sophomore quarterback Larry Hill threw for 331 yards and earned NAIA Player of the Week honor.
I remember the game because it was one of my better games statistically, and we won the game. And you could almost sense, it was at our place, when we left the field, they were shocked. We were elated. But I just gained a sense in the locker room after the game, we can beat anybody. I'm not sure why we've lost these close games, but we can beat anybody. And we closed with 3 more wins. The 10th game of the year, we won on the last play of the game. And so we're 6-4, which is better than they had been and Sol Ross had been in a long time. And we'd won 4 straight, and we had a lot of really good players coming back in '81. And I thought that was the spark that would culminate in '82, an undefeated season, and launch us into a great '81 year.
I think we went 6-4 that season and lost like 3 games by 1 point, you know, and so we were just getting there, and our confidence was getting there. The team was gelling, was getting unified, you know, and I felt like they expected to win now, the 81, and then especially the '82 team. They came in there expecting to win.
Well, I think we started playing good. You know, we were a good football team. We started learning how to win. We started building that bond. The players really bought into one another and bought into what the coaches wanted them to do. And it was a beautiful thing to see, because as a coach, you could see it coming.
We all had a responsibility, now not just to ourselves, but to our teammates. And that is what I felt, and that is what I can look back and remember the most. I did not want to let anyone down. The other guys didn't want to let anyone down. Because why? Because I believe we became closer. We became as one. I think that year was projected us into 82.
The matchups between the Lobos and Roos from then on gained gravity as the two teams had each other in their sights because the road to the conference championship would go through Alpine or Sherman, Texas. In their second meeting, a Lobo victory would cement the championship and set up a run at a national championship. But it wasn't meant to be, as a last-minute touchdown snapped the unbeaten Lobos' winning streak. The loss evened the two teams' records, but it staked Austin College's claim for the 1981 playoff bid over the Lobos. Austin College would go on to run the table and win the NAIA National Championship.
And understood that it was only one team that cost us from going to the playoffs, and that was Austin College.
But, we didn't do it. We didn't do it. And, I look back at that and I see that was disappointing to me, that when I get the film and I look at it and it's just plain as day, we just let them get away with it. We shouldn't have.
1982 would pit the Lobos and Roos against each other again, and the first meeting would set the tone for the season. Coming off the loss in 81 that would keep Sul Ross out of the playoffs, the Lobos knew that this trip to Sherman would have to end differently if they wanted to realize their goals of making the NAIA playoffs and a hunt for the national title.
I remember how long of a bus ride it always was to Sherman, first of all, as all of us do. And we kind of look back now, and we would actually load up the bus on Thursday night and drive all night long and get there mid-morning on Friday morning.
Well, I remember the pregame as we're all gathered around and tense because we're playing, we know, for a national championship. And we had a freshman, Coach George asked if anybody had anything to say, and Jimmy Aldridge, a freshman that none of us really knew at the time, stood up and said, I've got one thing. You guys came up here last year and you got your ass kicked.
And I think at that moment, I don't even remember what he said after that, because then at that point we're like, huh? We're looking around at each other, and who is this guy? What's he talking about? So Jimmy did his part to pump us up, and we went out there and did what we had to do. And I just, I liked that game. And I don't remember all of it, but I do remember we had a play, that particular deal, for their defense. And I remember I would loop around Watson. Watson would block down, and I'd come around on the linebacker, and Larry'd pitch the ball out to Mo. And if Mo had a little room, he was gone.
You fast forward to game 9. And we're 8-0, and Austin College is 7-1. We're in the identical situation that we were the year before. And this time, we're the one with the lead, a one-possession game, and there's just a minute or two left, and Austin College actually has the ball, and they've got several first downs put together, and they're on our 25-yard line with about 40 seconds to go. And I remember being on the sideline. I'm really powerless to do anything. I'm an offensive player. Defense has got to do something. And I just remember thinking, somebody's got to make a play. So somebody's got to make a play. If we're ever going to do this, and then here it is, somebody's got to make a play. And Carl Lee made a play.
Austin College is now driving, and they're getting down close to our goal line. And I said, we can't lose this. I said, if it comes my way, I'm going to make sure I have to stop this play. Or if it goes away, I got to do something. Well, they run a pass play, and I'm not able to quite get to the quarterback in time. So Coach Mays used to always say, you can't get there, put your hands up. So quarterback drops, can't get there, put my hands up, tip the ball. Luckily, Frank Fryer's there to intercept the ball. Game's over.
He had stopped me on the sideline 2 series before. He says, if you guys will score one more time, we're going to win. We went down and scored, and then before the defense took the field for the last series, he kind of looked at me and nodded as though, okay, we're going to do that. And we needed a play, and I remember they trying to throw a little slant pattern to the wide side of the field, and Carl Lee elevated. He jumped as high as he possibly could. I think it's about this high. And he got his big hand up and batted that thing in the air, and Frank Fryer picked it off and ran it about 40, 50 yards the other way, and we took a knee, kneeled the ball, and that was a celebration. That was the most exciting football game I had ever been in that stage of my life. And to see just the euphoria amongst the players, the coaches, the community, the college, they just hadn't had anything like that. Most of us hadn't been involved in it. And just remember that, and the aftermath in the locker room. You know, there's an electricity that you just don't often get to be a part of, and that was just so magical, and it just sticks out.
A lot of things go into an undefeated season, and maybe you have to have a little bit of luck. Maybe you have to have a few things go right, and that was certainly one of them. You look at polls, and it's when you win, when you lose. And had we not beat them in that 9th game of the year, the tables could have actually turned and been flip-flopped a little bit, and they may have jumped ahead of us in the rankings. And back then, there were only 8 teams that went into the playoff system with so many conferences in the nation. You know, it was very, very difficult back then for 2 teams out of the same conference to make it.
If you hit a team that wants it more, and I think Saul Ross wanted it more, to be honest with you, than we did. I mean, we had a great team just like y'all did, but it came down to kind of just the want to, and y'all had it.
We'll take care of it once we get out on the field, and once we got out there, and we just kept pounding and pounding. Yes, it was a close game. But really, overall, I think we just wore them down to where they couldn't do anything.
The Lobos would extend their third quarter lead to 30-16 after another Larry Hill to Andrew Hill connection. The fourth quarter would begin with the 30-23 score, but soon would be tied at 30 following a William Jewell fourth down stop and subsequent 12-play scoring drive. William Jewell recovered a fumble on the ensuing kickoff, and a chip shot field goal would end this one. But nose tackle David Wrench had a difference of opinion.
Snap is down, the kick is up, and it's blocked by the Lobos. That was David Wrench.
With unsuccessful drives by both teams following, this game was headed into overtime.
30 apiece. Oh my goodness. Regardless of how it winds up, nobody here can say they didn't get their money's worth of football.